what is going on? We are back in Black in the Building. Shout out to everybody out there at the Core Plantation doing what they gotta do to survive. Man. This is a kind of a good month. It's celebration for birthdays, but then it's not a bad month, but it's a reflection month. January's always been kind of different. But shout out to everybody out there. Oh man, if you're at the Core Plantation doing what you gotta do to survive, I got nothing but love for you. Shout out to my brother Dave from No Compromise, my brother James Youngblood, Eric Gashani, Philly, Florida in the building, Texas, Georgia in the building, Vegas in the building. Shout out to all my, look, voice all criminal and shit. Shout out to all my people that's out there handling business. Shout out to my family, siblings. You know, happy birthday to my mom, my older sister, my cousin. All their birthdays is in January. That's crazy, huh? Is it what? Capricorn year, huh? I can't keep up with that shit. But anyway, happy birthday, everybody. Happy birthday to you. Looking at us. But anyway, shout out to everybody out there. Shout out to the homegirl, Melina in North Carolina. My homegirl's in Arizona. Man, gotta fix my voice. You know what it is. Man, we got a good subject to talk about today. Like I said, it ain't gonna be long. I'm trying to just do these in 10, 15 minute increments. I like doing it. Give people a chance to kind of take it in and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, man, my goal is to start a podcast with my brother David and my brother James Youngblood. I'm gonna have to figure it out. Or, you know, maybe we can do it on his platform or whatever. If we could just do it once a week. Man, that's really my ultimate goal, to be around those brothers, because not only these brothers walking geniuses, they have very, very good insight, and they have very good critical thinking skills. And I learn from these brothers, man, when I listen to them speak. Sometimes I go back, play the old lives that we had, play the old lives that we had, and I'm like, man, this nigga James Youngblood has spit some cold shit. It kind of keeps me on my game. David is like a walking encyclopedia. I mean, this is what I admire about this nigga. This nigga, he kind of got me on my square too, man. This motherfucker be quoting Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. Ben Yakinet. Like, he be quoting scholars that a lot of people don't really know and ain't really read their work. And I've only read a tidbit of some of the stuff that he be quoting. I'd be like, God damn, I gotta get on my shit. But I like that. You know what I mean? I like that because it gives me a different perspective in life. And you know what I like about it, man? Speaking about the brother David, I like how humble this dude is. This dude is a walking wealth of knowledge. And this is the humblest nigga I've ever met in my life. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it a buck. Like, if you really go back and listen to them lives and them Twitter spaces, that's why a lot of times I don't be liking to interrupt him or say nothing, because I'm like, listen to what this nigga is saying. Listen to who he's quoting. Man, he will quote Dr. Francis Cresswell saying in a minute. He be making me gotta go back and look at the book and be like, damn, what the fuck chapter he find that shit in? But I know that that's in the book because I didn't read it. He'll quote Neely Fuller Jr. He'll quote Dr. Ben. He'll quote Amos Wilson. He'll quote Leonard Jeffries. All these people I done heard our elders quote. I'm like, God damn, man. I know you done read them books. So shout out to my brother. I just want to give that brother a special shout out. That's ultimately my goal once I get all this shit going on, to have a podcast with them brothers once a week. We got to come up with a name, brothers, but I think it's going to be powerful. And I'm just trying to clear my schedule so I can have the time so we can do it, because we on 3 different standard times, but that's my goal. So I just want to give that brother props, give that brother James Youngblood props. Then I'm going to try to do like hopefully I can get some women and do like a women podcast too. And then we can all group it together and have, you know what I mean, just a selection and a variety of different minds that come together. But it takes a lot of time to do that and scheduling. But anyway, man, shout out to those brothers. Now we about to get into the topic at hand. cut this down. Let's get into the topic at hand. Man, it's cold in the motherfucker outside too. Not as cold as like other areas, but it's pretty cold. So, man. Our brother Michael Rappaport strikes again. Look, just because you hang out with people and you're associated with people don't mean that you don't have the anti-black code. And he possesses it. See, he's one of those type of people, he'll go around black people, but go out of his way to talk shit about black people because he is in alignment with a lot of black people in Hollywood. You know, so he feels like he could say those things. But here, let me tell you something. Fuck Michael Rappaport. He full of shit. See, motherfuckers want to quote Dr. Martin Luther King when it's convenient for them, then want to turn around and call him a Zionist. If you listen to the speech with Dr. Martin Luther King, he talked about, he said, anti-Semitism anywhere is injustice everywhere. Dr. King is talking about whoever is spewing anti-Semitism, that is unjust. And we do not stand for that. And we are on the right side of right, and we back our white brothers and sisters that are in the dominant society's Jewish community. We back them. We make sure that they're being treated fair. That's what Dr. Martin Luther King is saying. This motherfucker calling him a Zionist, all that sucker shit. I'm so sick of people like Michael Rappaport always attacking our foundational black American leaders. I'm sick of that shit. I'm sick of us allowing people to do that. See, this is what happens. You give them a pass and they come around and act a goddamn fool. What is it going to take is another dominant society person to be like, bro, you doing too much. You're doing too much, and that's offensive to people that are related to Dr. Martin Luther King. And you don't have a right to say that shit. That's what fuck Robert. Michael Rappaport think he married a black woman. No, I don't give a fuck if you marry Jesus, nigga. You can't say that. That's the problem. I think I'm gonna go deep. David, James, all y'all out there that's listening, y'all tell me, leave comments, tell me what y'all think. I'm gonna go deeper. I think a lot of people like him don't like that we're so on code that they don't like the unraveling of us all being on code. We are possessing a code now. We're not doing the four-wall effect, just coming together to complain. We're taking matters into our own hands. Look at those brothers and sisters in Chicago. They like, we not voting. We vote for whoever giving us reparations and giving us tangibles. We're not standing for that. You know what? I was listening to a little debate, not even a debate, with that dude Derek Colon and Tariq Nasheed. Derek Colon, he's a Puerto Rican brother. And it's so fascinating how everybody wants to attach themselves to hip hop that we created through our struggle. And all these other racial groups want to say that they made it up. This, like I told you before, you gonna wake up, motherfucking Chinese motherfuckers gonna be like, we made up hip hop too. We deserve credit. Now it's the time to get paid and get notoriety. Now people want to claim it. But I remember in the 90s, 80s and the 90s, didn't nobody want to claim hip hop about us. Where was all these non-foundational black Americans at when NWA was being persecuted? You know, shout out to Luke. Shout out to Luke, you know what I'm saying, because he took a stand too, and they was fucking with him too. But other than Luke, where was all these other non-foundational black Americans that, as I quote, stand on business? Because that's the new saying. You stand on business, right? You stand on business. You stand on business. Okay, well, if you stand on business, where the fuck was y'all antennas at when NWA was getting persecuted? When Ice-T was getting persecuted? When Eazy-E was getting persecuted? When all these foundational black Americans were taking the hit for a lot of the things that was going wrong in hip hop, where was y'all at? Y'all motherfuckers wasn't saying shit. See, this is why I believe people like Michael Rappaport and others, they don't like what's going on in the FBA community because we're standing on our square, we are being on code, and now we're calling these people out that possess anti-black racism. And they don't like that. That shit even happens at the Court Plantation. Y'all told y'all that. I haven't talked about the Court Plantation in a while because, you know, I know y'all get tired of hearing me talk about the Court Plantation, but let me tell you something. Shout out to my homegirl Melina. The Court Plantation ain't shit. And they go out of their way to possess that anti-black racism. And they have an anti-black code. amongst each other within the dominant society. And as Dr. Francis Quest Welsing said, tell us what's being said when you're not in the fucking room. When we're not in the room, tell us what's being said. Go in those rooms and tell us exactly what's being said about us. Now, let me tell you something. I worked at corn plantations for a long time. I worked at corn plantations where dominant society won't tell you shit about what's being said. And I worked at one corn plantation where a couple of dominant society people were like, Warren, them people racist. Warren, watch them people. Warren, such and such and such. Warren, go to that department. Warren, don't stay over there. Warren, watch that motherfucker. They talking shit about you and they racist. Warren, such and such. You know, in particular, I remember one white woman, she passed away, but she basically, you know, one day just sat me down in the office. She was big time, big wig, worked for the company for a long time. And she straight told me, she's like, look, 85% of the people at this company are racist. They don't like black people. And they definitely don't like black men that, you know, she said that are happy-spirited, confident, and have goals, dreams, and ambitions. And she said it just like that. Excuse me. And I was like, what you mean at the time? And she was like, look, these people that are in positions of power, they don't like black people. Even the people at the lower end of the structure that have a little bit of power, they treat black people like shit. We had a long conversation about it. And I said, well, you know, I even said, well, it doesn't surprise me because I deal with that every job I go to. She was like, I know and I understand that, but I'm just letting you know where you are and what is going to happen. And over the years, we built a different type of communication and relationship. And I noticed other black folk, you know, fucked with her. And I would ask other black people, you know, just on the side, like, hey man, what's up? Woo. They like, nah, man, oh girl, cool. Like you gotta, she gonna tell you about your favorite supervisor. And she gonna put they asses on blast. And I noticed this white woman wasn't really well liked amongst the dominant society. It would be other management people hella talking shit about her like all the time. And I noticed her staff, she had a lot of black folk, a lot of brothers, sisters. Like I just noticed that it was more equal opportunity where she was, but I didn't really notice it in the beginning. But like maybe towards the latter years, I started to notice it. And I was like, damn, maybe that's why. And I remember another Caucasian dominant society lady that was kind of the same way. Really don't fuck with you. Like, she not gonna smile with you. She just kind of do her job and go about her way. But I noticed her staff had a lot of sisters and brothers, and they were like being promoted. And I started noticing. This was like 2 years later, y'all. So I went and asked her about old girl. She was like, nah, she cool people. And I was like, why don't they like her? And she was like, because she won't be racist. She won't treat black people like shit. And I was like, damn, for real. She was like, yeah, man, you have to understand this, Warren. Like, just because these people smiling with you, I was really, really young. But there's like, just because these people are laughing and smiling with you and talking about sports, they don't like black people. And this lady was white. She was like, they don't like black people. I remember one time she told me, she was like, hey, they definitely don't like if you black and you date maybe white, or if the person is white and they got like a black significant other. She was like, they can't stand that shit. And I was like, why you think so? She was like, because they jealous. Yep. And she was like, and you gotta watch these people. She was like, your best bet, Warren, keep your earphones on, don't say shit, do your job, and go on about your way. So that was two people that ended up kind of telling me like how it was. And I was just like, okay, all right. And then towards the latter years, like about 3-4 years later, me and the first supervisor, we started having different type of conversations about racism. And she was just like, she was one of the first person I ever heard say, she was just like, a lot of these people here, they hide their racism. They hide it because they don't want to get HR called on them. So they hide it. That's why they hired like one black person. She was like, and if you know that one black person is probably like laughing and joking and overly and compensating and telling all their business and all this other shit. She was like, because that makes them racist motherfuckers feel comfortable. And I just was like, wow. And I was like, she was like, you'll notice. She told me, she was like, ask people why. A lot of these people don't like me. But ask them why, and ask people that know me. And then there was another person that said, it was a black person that said the same shit about this lady. It was like, nah, she cool people. They don't like her much, but she cool people. Oh, and they was trying, she was off cold, so they was trying to get her the fuck up out the paint. Oh no, about the paint. And you say, I'm just giving y'all this example. And the reason why I'm giving y'all this example so you can understand what I'm saying. And I remember one time, because, I haven't really talked about the corporate plantation, but I am. I remember one time I had a disagreement with a person in my department, and this lady ended up being, which was ironic, she wasn't over our department, but she ended up being like the VP of our department later on down the line. And me and this dude kind of had words. Well, he was being very antagonistic, and this was before I read. Like, I wasn't real red or nothing. This was years ago. And I said, you started talking crazy and cussing. I said, man, I just walked off, and I put it to work. I was like, okay, if she for brothers and sisters, we finna find out today. So I went over there, because her building was in another building. And she was I'll never forget this, y'all. I never told the story. She was having a big time conference with a bunch of VPs and stuff. And I went in there, and she saw the look on my face, and I asked her secretary, I was like, is she available? I really need to talk to her. So she's like, I'll call her right away. Boom, she called her, let her know. The lady came out. This is the VP, and was like, give me 5 minutes, because she was ending the meeting. She ended the meeting. She had me come in there. I said, look, I ain't trying to start nothing. And I said it just like this. I said, this white man over there talking crazy to everybody. I can't deal with it, and I don't want to lose my job. She said, enough said. She called my supervisor, which was black at the time, in a Sambo, and letting this shit go on. Called him, called the dude over there, and called a couple other witnesses. She spoke to a couple people to get the stories right. She called us in a conference. And this is the first time I saw a dominant society person be off code. She looked at that white man in front of my supervisor, in front of all the other witnesses, and said, if anybody ever comes to me again and tells me you're cussing, screaming, talking irate to people, acting inappropriately and using vulgar language, I'm going to fire you. She was like, this is your first and last warning. You're more than welcome to go to HR and take this up with HR. But if you do, I will proceed with the firing today. You have one final warning. And it kind of shocked me, because you know how they do. Come on, David. Come on, Tasha, all y'all out there. They normally just be like, okay, well, you got to report to HR. They send you up the chain. They don't want to help you. I was even bucking my eyes a little bit like, damn, I didn't expect her to do that. My supervisor, he was scared as a motherfucker. And then she jumped on his ass. And she says, and I quote, I'm very disappointed that you would allow this such behavior in your department. Me and you need to have a further discussion about code of conduct here at, name the company. So then he had to stay back. And I had to stay back. And then she asked him, has he reported to you before that this has been going on? He's like, not to my knowledge. She asked me, and I was like, I have, but it's basically, fall on deaf ears, and this dude is just out of control. Man, my supervisor had to apologize to me. He had to apologize to her. When we went back over there, all the white boys was apologizing. And they couldn't believe how their $1 million worth of whiteness was not working with this white lady. They thought, oh, well, he must be doing something. And then after, she said, I need to stay, and I need to have a word with Warren. She's like, but before I have a word with Warren, if there is any retaliation, she told my supervisor, I will fire you as well. So I'm just letting you know in front of him. And then you can go. She let him go. Then I stayed, and she said, Warren, thank you for coming over and letting me know this. This is not tolerated in my department. There's a new sheriff in town. We don't play that. If there is even any remote racism or being racist, you will be terminated. So let me know if that's going on. Man, you talking about them white folks scared of me, y'all? Oh, man, when I went back, I didn't grin, I didn't smile, put my earphones on. People were coming to me apologizing. And let me tell you, and I'm going to go as far as this. She said at the end of the meeting, it was just me and her. She said, Warren, I don't like him. He's one of those white, arrogant men, and I'm going to fire him when this is all said and done. You just keep doing what you're doing and watch me work. And she said it just like that. Hey, y'all, she got him up out of there like a motherfucker. And after that shit happened, all those white motherfuckers that was in there left me the fuck alone. I'm talking about Moses and the part of the Red Sea. So this is what I mean when Dr. Francis Cress Welsing is saying, tell us what's being said when we're not in the room. I'm not saying you're going to find that at every job. Was I lucky? Fuck yeah, I was lucky. Because normally that don't happen to us. But what I'm saying is we have to understand that there is a anti-black code. There is an anti-black code. There is. It's at the corporate plantations. It's in Hollywood. It's in NBA basketball, NFL football, MLB baseball, hockey. And we got to start possessing the code. And when you are around the dominant society, you tell them. Tell us what's being said when we're not in the room. Don't be regurgitating no fucking Tim Wise talking points and Jane Elliott talking points. That's why I like Jane Elliott. When it comes time for us to get what the fuck we deserve, she over here talking about what about the Native Americans. That's not justice. That's injustice. So we have to understand that. And we got to know what's going on within our society. We got to understand that people like Michael Rappaport will disrespect Martin Luther King and keep it moving because he don't care. But let us disrespect any type of dominant society, white Jewish brother or sister, then it's going to be you anti-Semitic. You this, you that. So I don't want to hear that shit. See, he can talk shit about Martin Luther King, but then when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan exposes some of the things that the dominant society does, now it's a problem. You being anti-Semitic. That's why I don't point it at our Jewish brothers and sisters. I point it at the dominant society being anti-black racist. That's what. It isn't one religious group or one group. No. Racism is a team sport. So whether you are white, Jewish brother, sister, or just a regular white Irishman, if you possess anti-black racism, that is racism, white supremacy. And I'm trying to establish a system of justice, meaning the most the racial group that needs the most constructive help receives the most constructive help. That's it. And I just wanted to give y'all that because that really, really changed my thought process. That's why I would always, I took one of my homeboys later on in my career there to meet her. And she was telling him the same thing. And what scared him was she was saying some cold shit. He couldn't believe it. Because he just was like, I can't believe that white lady saying that. I was like, I was the same way when I first met her, dog. Like, I thought, like, man, she's saying this for shock value. She's saying this. And as time went on, you started to see she was not liked by a lot of her peers. And she didn't give a fuck. She didn't give a fuck. She was one of the main motherfuckers. And she told my homeboy, she was just like, yeah, most of these white men racist because they ain't black. She was like, they can't go out in the sun. She was saying all kinds of crazy shit. I was like, I told you, bro, she be going hard. But you very seldom meet people like that in positions of power that will basically become the egalitarian in the situation, making it equal. Like, no, just because you white don't mean you're going to go up in there and start talking shit about everybody and treat people like shit. She got that motherfucker up out the paint. Straight up. She got his ass up out the paint. And this is the same motherfucker that was doing bullshit to one of the other black dudes that work in there. He just was a man. He just wasn't a nice dude. And he did it on purpose. He was able to get away with it on GP. Now when she became in charge, and she got him about the paint, and I was kind of shocked because I never seen that before. It's normally the opposite. They normally trying to get us the fuck up out of there. So, you know what I mean? And she did a lot of things for a lot of black folk to put people in positions to win. So it wasn't just me, it was other black folk too. So if you don't have that, then you got to move on. You don't need nobody singing the damn rap songs with you and talking about a goddamn Laker game with you. You can talk about that amongst your black folk. You need somebody that's going to tell you what's being said when you're not in the room. And people like Michael Rappaport, he he is the definition of anti-black code. Just because he married some black sister, that doesn't mean that he resents black folk. I think he resents black culture as a whole. I think he's envious and jealous of black culture. I think he uses his $1 million worth of whiteness to do and say certain shit to fuck with black people. That's why he did that shit to fucking Kevin Durant. Because he low-key secretly he jealous of Kevin Durant. That's why he leaked those text messages. He a whole motherfucker. And he know that. And that's why motherfuckers need to go in on his ass. So fuck Michael Rappaport. He ain't shit. He's a failed actor. To me. So fuck him. You disrespecting Dr. Martin Luther King, I don't got shit to say to you. That's why, as a whole, the dominant society, they don't really give a fuck about Martin Luther King. They just do it just on GP, like, Martin Luther King Day. They don't care. Just like Bill Burr said, why would you give us Black History Month in February, the coldest month of the year? You're supposed to give it to us in June. And people are like, why we have Black History Month? Because we built the country for free without repayment, motherfucker. So give us our goddamn reparations. Fuck all this other shit, like Vlad TV talking about nobody wants to hear a millionaire, Taraji P. Henson cry. We can listen to her cry about not having millions all we want. Fuck you, Vlad. Tired of that motherfucker speaking on black business. Y'all need to leave that motherfucker alone. Stop going on his fucking platform. He's a vulture. And he don't fuck with black people. Leave that motherfucker alone, man. Man, we need to stop treating the dominant society like they are gods. And treat them as the oppressor that they are when it comes to our culture. All these other racial groups want to piggyback off our culture because now the culture is as global as it could ever be. Now everybody want a piece of it. Stop. Don't even entertain these people. These people, you're going to wake up one day. Let me tell you something. You're going to wake up one day and Australia's going to be like, we invented hip hop, mate. But hey, man, that's my time, man. Go check out the article about Michael Rappaport talking shit about Martin Luther King. R.I.P. to the Dr. Martin Luther King. Much power and respect to his family. Let's stop Sambo and Coonan. Yes, Trump was probably going to win again. Democrats, you out of luck. You out of time. You ain't done shit for black folk. Foundational Black Americans. You catering to illegal immigrants. So keep catering to them motherfuckers. Guilty, nigga. I'm out. Peace.